So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to find the area a squared and b squared by measuring the length, so counting the lengths of a and b. And we're going to check to see that the a squared plus b squared area is the same area as that c squared area. Okay, so starting with length of side A, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the length of side A. So the area is 36 squares. Okay, so when I talk about this square area in here, that's going to give me my 36 squares. I'll write that in, 36 squares. And then for b squared, we need to count that b. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 has a side length of 8. So b squared equals 64 squares. So 8 times 8, or 8 squared, gives me my 64 squares that I'm looking for. So there's 64 squares. Now what I want to do is I want to check that, does it actually match the c squared? So I'm going to count up my c squared now. This is a little bit harder, but we need to calculate the triangle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way to the corner. It's going to be the same triangle as that we started with, 6 by 8. So 6 times 8 divided by 2. Okay, type that into your calculator. And you should see that you end up with 24 squares. And we know that each one of these triangles is going to be a 6 by 8 triangle, so they're all going to have the same area of 24. Twenty-four squares here. Make sure you're drawing this in your diagram. 24 squares here. So we have 4 times 24 gives us 96 squares. And that square in the middle, I'm just going to do the different color here. That square in the middle is going to be 4 squares. So the total number of squares we get is 100. Okay, so when I just shade that in, all that blue area is going to be represented by 100 squares. So we have 100 squares, and we know that the a squared and b squared, when I add that up, it's going to be 36 plus 64, and that's going to be the same as the 100 squares that I had. And so we know that those match. So we have that matching that. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, if I want to find out the side length of that triangle, it's going to be square root 100. So on my calculator, square root 100 equals 10. And again, please make note that the side length 6 and 8 do not add up to 10, but the areas a squared plus b squared adds up to the area c squared. So the rule is, make sure you put this in nice and big, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The area, the square area plus the square area equals the square area. Okay, not the edge lengths, but the areas are where the relationship is. So that's what Pythagoras is, based on the areas, not the sides.